All right, everybody. I'm just having, I forgot. So we have Chelsea Bennett here from Lulu, and she's going to take it away. After I remind you, if you need captions, you can enable those from your end. And if you need to ask a question, please put it in the Q&A box, and we'll get to all of those at the end of Chelsea's presentation. All right, you ready to go now?
Are you asking me or everybody
Yeah,
else?
yeah, yeah. That's for everybody. Everybody ready to
Is
go?
everybody, yeah. Are you ready for this? Yes. Cue Jock Jams music. Yes, I am ready. If everybody else is ready, then yeah, I'll go ahead and share my
Do
screen
it.
and hop into it. So yeah, I will say I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Usually when my screen is sharing, I cannot see the chat. So I think I'll have time for questions. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. Well, not as quickly as possible. I want it to be efficient and good. So, all right. Hey, Alexa, can you see my slides? Does that look okay?
You are good to go. I see the cool cat.
The cool cat, the business cat. Yes. All right. Awesome. Well, hey, everybody. My name is Chelsea Bennett. I am with Lulu. And I think I gave you your first spoiler alert because there's a whole slide that says that, and I'm just too excited, I guess. So I'm going to talk to you about 5 things to know before you publish. I saw that a lot of you, this is your first time Luluing, which is very exciting because that means you won't know if I'm telling the truth or not. No, I'm kidding. I am. But also, all of this information is going to be helpful regardless of where you choose to publish. Of course, we would love to have you at Lulu, but this presentation, this information really came from working at Lulu for, I think this is my 8th year there, and just talking to a lot of authors who kind of come to us post publication and really kind of are asking us things that I think would be really helpful if you considered them before you publish. So that is where this came from. So I'm excited to share this with you. And like I said, please drop your questions in the chat. And I will try to leave as much time at the end as I can to answer those questions for you. So without further ado, let's get into 5 things to know before you publish. There is further ado, actually. So Lulu, a little bit about us. So several of you said you aren't familiar with Lulu, or maybe this is your first time learning about us. So well, Lulu is a real word, first of all. I always like to share that little factoid. And we were founded in 2002 by Bob Young. So we've been around for quite a bit. It's free to use our publishing platform. We have printed over 53 million books. This number has only gone up. This is kind of a figure from last year. And we've also paid out over $143 million in author revenues. So really excited to be a part of a company who is able to help authors really support themselves and create a sustainable platform. And then our mission is that we are dedicated to making the world a better place, one book at a time through sustainable practices, innovative print-on-demand products, and a commitment to excellent service. A little bit more preamble before I dive into it. We are a certified B Corp. So I always like to start my presentations with this. I'm very proud that Lulu has kind of taken this on. We became certified, I believe, in 2017. And it just means that we are a for-profit company that's certified by the nonprofit B Lab to meet the standards of social and environmental performance, accountability, and transparency. We are about to go through our recertification, which I think happens every 2 or 3 years. So just proud to be a part of this movement. And if you are looking for, I know Valentine's Day is right around the corner. If you're looking for gifts, then the B Corp community is a great place to spend your dollars. All right, so as I said, so you can tell I am telling the truth. I am Chelsea Bennett. I'm Lulu's education and community manager, and that is my cat Batman, and he doesn't work on Mondays or any other days, so he will not be a part of this presentation. All right, so what to know before you publish? So I always like to start with your goals. I think it's really important to take a minute to think, why am I writing this book? So there are a myriad, a plethora of reasons that you could be writing a book, but figuring out why you're writing your book is really going to help you understand when to invest your time and money and resources as you start putting the book together. So I think that that's a really good place to start. And of course, you can do this at any point. So if you've already started writing, if you already have your publication date, all of that, it's just kind of good to do a check-in and say, okay, what is success going to look like for me and why am I doing this? So I have listed here just a few things that we see, that may encourage you or maybe driving you to write a book. Make money, Hopefully that's not the only thing. You probably know that books, it can be very hard to generate substantial revenue from a book, especially if it's your first one, but that can be a goal. Raising awareness. So if you are raising awareness about your business, about product that you have, about an organization that is close to your heart, that's a great reason. Getting new clients, using a book as a lead magnet, another great reason. Sharing information, building credibility, establishing yourself as a thought leader. These are reasons that we see people publish books all the time, and it can be a really great way to kind of establish yourself outside of your pack. So if you are in a really crowded industry, saying, I literally wrote the book on fill in the blank can be very helpful. Boosting backlist sales. I think the statistic is people really start to get traction around their third or fourth book. So when you really hit on that third or fourth book, then that's going to help get more notice or get more attention to your backlist. So publishing can help boost backlist sales. And then just to prove you can, that is just as valid a reason as anything on here. But of course, regardless of which one you pick, they're going to have different outcomes when it comes to really planning your publishing path and how you will allot your resources and time. Okay, so if you aren't sure how to kind of create your goals or how to make an appropriate goal, maybe you've heard of the SMART method or the SMARTER method. Today, I propose the SMARTER method to you. I think this is a more complete way to look at it. I did add an extra A in there, but I think it really helps kind of make a more robust system for creating and measuring goals. So the SMARTER method is specific. Is your goal specific? Is it, something that you can go back to and say, yes, I exactly hit this number, where it's not kind of vague or something that's sort of periphery that you can't measure, which is the next one, which is measurable. So you want it to be specific, you want it to be measurable and attainable. So selling 100 books is a really good goal, but is that going to make sense for you? If you were just doing a passion project, if you don't have an audience yet, if you don't know who your target market is, maybe 100 books in your first month is a difficult goal to hit. So think, is it attainable for you and your content? Accountability. So I added this one in here because I think accountability can be really, really valuable, especially in the writing phase and the production phase of your book. For a lot of people, if you haven't published before, writing a book can be a lofty goal, a very attainable goal, but it can be lofty. I mean, everybody that you know and that you meet, probably when you're in this journey of publishing a book, will say to you, oh, I've always wanted to write a book, or oh, I could never do that. You can do it. It is definitely doable. But just like any other goal that you set, having someone in your corner that knows you're working towards this can be really, really helpful and really valuable, and kind of keep the momentum going on those days you don't feel like showing up to write or putting in the time to kind of move your book along. The next one, is it relevant? So is your goal relevant to the project at hand? So this framework and your goals should change for every book that you publish, every project that you take on. But regardless, you want to make sure that your goals are really relevant for the task at hand and what you're trying to accomplish. And then time-based. So again, if you say, hey, I want to sell 100 books, that's a great goal to have. But selling 100 books over the course of a year and selling 100 books within the first week that you launch, those are going to feel very different. So make sure that you're kind of putting a timetable on the goals that you're setting. And then once you get through the initial process, you want to evaluate and readjust. So a lot of times, we have these goals or we set these things for ourselves, and then you kind of never go back to look at here's what worked and here's what didn't, and kind of refine it. This is really valuable for any project that you take on, but especially if you see yourself writing and publishing multiple books. Take the time after the dust settles, after you've launched, and you can kind of look at some data and analytics and say, did I hit my goal? Did I do it in the time that I set? If I didn't, why not? And if I did, how can I improve on that next time? And then again, readjust as needed. All right, next is your audience. So this one is so important because, well, these are all important. I put them all on here for a reason, but the audience is really important because we have seen so many authors that come up to us at events or, throughout the process of the year, and they have their books in hand and they say, all right, how do I sell this? How do I sell more books? And if you don't know who your audience is, then you're really in a tough spot. So I really like to encourage people to start thinking about who your book is for as soon as you know what it's going to be about. So as soon as you know the topic of your book and how it is going to round out, then start thinking about your ideal reader. So who will get the most out of this book? And then once you have an idea of who that person is or who that group is, where do these people get their news and information? So what websites can you start visiting? What newsletters can you sign up for? What events can you go to? What social media platforms do you need to be active on? Start thinking about that and then do that. Go to those places, start really connecting. I mean, the beauty of the time that we live in is if you have an idea of who you're writing for, what they like, what their interests are, other books that they're reading, you can pretty easily start to find an ecosystem that that person is probably active in. This combination of in-person events versus online events and communities and websites and Facebook groups or circle communities, Discord, Reddit, all of these places can be really, really helpful to you in finding the people that you know will get the most out of your book, hearing their pain points, seeing what they think about other books that have been published in your genre or topic, seeing what they liked and what they didn't like, and being able to really start conversations early on to say, hey, I'm working on this book. What would you like to see? Or I think you'd really be interested in this, and building that community. So if you are unsure, this positioning statement I think is really helpful. It's kind of a good baseline to get started. So my book will help audience to benefit by method. So audience, benefit, and method are the blanks that you want to fill in. So if you are writing a book about how to improve your sleep habits, then my book will help insomniacs to sleep better by winding down and creating a sleep hygiene routine or something like that. So you can obviously fill in the blanks for your book. This works for fiction or nonfiction. But I encourage you to kind of take this if you're not sure who your target audience is. If you're having a hard time creating that reader persona, use this as a jumping off point. I think it's a good place to start. So your target audience will help you choose appropriate buy set categories and price point, as well as several other things. But your buy set categories just help retailers categorize your book and understand when to serve it up when people are searching for key terms. And then your price point. So understanding your audience is going to help you understand what they're comfortable paying, what they're used to paying for a book like yours. And so it will kind of get familiar with what your price point should be when you launch that book. All right, number 3 is your publishing timeline. So I like to use a work back plan. So before you choose, or when you think about when you want to publish your book, pick a launch date. So a lot of people will say 6 months is a good kind of runway to give yourself. I have seen people take 10 years to publish a book. So somewhere in between 6 months and 10 years is maybe the sweet spot. But when you know, hey, I'm going to publish this book, here is when I want to launch it, then create a work back plan. So I like that kind of framework because I think it really gives you an opportunity to see the full picture kind of at a glance and then really get into the minutia and the details. But essentially a work back plan is just saying, I know I want to publish on June 1st. So a week out, I need to have my launch team ready to go. 2 weeks out, I need to have my social media, my email flows and campaigns set up, my social media graphics ready. A month out, I need to have the final proofs in and all that stuff. So work back plan is a great way to do that. And this will also help guide conversations with your publishing team. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But having your dates outlined, and they don't have to be set in stone. These things can be a little bit fluid. But when you're able to say to your illustrator, your designer, your formatter, hey, I'm launching on this date, so here are the dates we have to hit to stay on track, that can be very, very helpful. So a few things to include on your work back plan are editing. Okay, and again, this will go back to your goals. So if you are saying, I just am publishing a book to know that I can do it, to get through the process and understand how it works so that the next book I publish can be, a bit improved or more professional. So if your goal is just to publish something because you know, or you want to know that you can, maybe you don't have to pay a cover designer. Maybe you can try to format it yourself. Maybe you don't need 3 rounds of editing. So all of those things. So that's kind of why I like to start with a goal so you can really figure out what all needs to go into a plan to launch your book on time. But if you are publishing something for public consumption, then editing at least 1 round, probably multiple. Formatting is something you can do on your own. We have a lot of resources about formatting if you do want to try to do it on your own. But as someone who has published a couple books, I did try to format the very first book I ever published. I couldn't even figure out how to put page numbers on the page. And so that is I'm sure you are all much smarter than that, but there are some things that you're going to decide this is worth my time and this is worth my money. So here are just, again, just a short list of things you may want to include. Cover design, again, if you are a wonderful illustrator or designer, you can probably take that on. But if not, I highly, highly recommend allotting money for cover design. Ordering your proof copy and reviewing and editing your proof copy. Again, if you're making something that other people are going to read that are not related to you, this is a non-negotiable. Order your proof copy, figure out what you need to change, how it looks, and review and edit and give yourself time to do that. So end-to-end testing is another really important one, especially if you're doing direct sales. So if you are planning to sell through your own website, then you want to go through the process of going to your website, navigating to the sale page, adding the book to cart, buying it, checking it out, and getting it to your house, or getting that book in the mail and then seeing what the process is like, so that you know what your readers are going to go through. And I would also recommend asking a couple friends or family to go through the process as well, so that you can see where the friction is. Is it easy to find your book? Is it convoluted? Is the checkout process complicated? So you want to kind of figure all that stuff out before your readers do. You want to help them help you. You don't want to make it hard for them to buy your book. Beta readers, obviously something that's also very important, communicating with your launch team, starting your email campaigns, and starting your social campaigns. So all of this stuff is, all of these things could find a place in your work back plan and may be good to include and might make sense for you. So give yourself at least 3 weeks to order, receive, review, and edit your proof copy. I know that when you go through the publishing process, once you kind of get to the point where you're submitting your files or you're hitting upload and order, you just want to speed run through all of it. Please don't. Please make sure you give yourself time, that when you get your proof copy in the mail, you're not just like skimming through it as fast as you can because you have to hit a deadline. Give yourself time to let it breathe, to look at it, and really spend time with the book to make it the best book possible. And then add another week at least if you're planning to launch around the holidays. So usually for Lulu, and I would imagine other printers as well, the holidays are a huge time for us. And so there are some other times on the calendar that we do get busy, like around school. A lot of educators use us to print workbooks and textbooks and things like that. So just think about that. Kind of be aware of holidays that may be coming up, and if that will change your print time and the time that you need to give yourself to get your order, review it, and be able to order more or make changes if you need to. All right, number 4 is budget. How much do you have to spend? So be honest with yourself about this. When I first started working in self-publishing, I thought it's free. You don't need to pay anything. You can upload your files and start selling. And that is true. You can do that, but you don't want to do that. Don't do that. You can, but I wouldn't recommend it. So just think about how much you want to spend. And really, with self-publishing and independent publishing, you can make a really nice book on I would say, a shoestring budget or a very modest budget. So it doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds or thousands of dollars, I should say, or hundreds of thousands if you want to make just a tome. But think about how much you want to spend for your book. And again, goes back to the goals. So that if you're making a book that's going to help you establish yourself as a thought leader or be a lead magnet for new clients, you need to spend some money to make sure it's the most professional looking book possible and not just throw it together, because this is a representation of you. And people feel better about investing in you when they know that you are investing in yourself and taking yourself seriously. So think about what services you need to bring your book to life. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. But you want to outline your budget before publishing so you can allocate appropriately for the products and services you will need. So I will say, here, a really great tool that you can use on Lulu. This may be a good comparison for other platforms if you want to explore, do some research that way, but our pricing calculator. So if you go to lulu.com/pricing, you can put in the specifications for your book. So if I want to make a 6x9 paperback, it's going to be about 200 pages. You can put that in and see, what our binding types are, paperweights, premium versus standard color, or black and white, and then you can get your per unit cost. From there, you can also get templates for your cover and your interior file. So if you're working with a designer or, working on it yourself, that can be really helpful so that you know when you go to upload, it's going to upload without a hitch and work well. But I always recommend that. So lulu.com/pricing, then you're going to be able to get your per unit cost for your book and kind of see where you're at there and then kind of plan your other services as needed. So again, expenses will vary from project to project, but a few of the usual suspects are editing, proofreading, cover design, formatting, I'll throw in there as well, manufacturing costs, and publishing fees. So on Lulu, it is free to publish. You only pay when you want to buy print copies of your book. But for other platforms that you might use, if you go with a hybrid publisher or something different, you may be expected to pay upfront cost or go with a minimum order, and then that can add up as well. So knowing your budget will help you have productive conversations with the folks you work with to bring your book to life. And that is going to bring me to number 5 on our list, which is your publishing team. Okay, so building your publishing dream team, who do you need to make the best book possible? What do you need to make the best book possible? So again, just start by thinking about your strengths, your weaknesses, what your goals are, who you want to have this book, who you want to, who your ideal reader is, thinking about all that. And then again, I didn't mention this yet, but looking at other books in your genre, looking at what people have published that is similar to your book, and thinking of what do those books look like? So what do you need to make your book look like that and kind of fit in, but stand out in the right way, if that makes sense. So evaluate where you are with your project and what you need to get to the next step. So be honest with yourself about what's really working for your book already and what you need to make it the best book possible. And then define your ideal candidate to fill the role. So think about when you are thinking about who this person is, or if you need a cover designer, who is your ideal candidate? What are you looking for in this relationship? Do you want someone who's going to be in touch with you regularly with updates? Do you want someone who you can touch base with once a week and get all the information you need? Do you want somebody who's going to be able to contact you through text, phone calls, emails, a video call, whatever? Think about how you want to do that. And how you want to be communicated with. Do you want someone who's going to shoot it straight, or do you want someone who's going to be, a bit kind and be able to give you, whatever feedback and information in a way that's friendly, or do you need somebody who's just going to give it to you straight and who cares about your feelings? So think about these things. Who are your ideal candidates? And also, when you're researching the person to fill this role, don't be afraid to ask for samples and specifics. So there are a lot of people who work in genre-specific roles or who will edit your book who are really familiar with certain genres. I would say this is especially important for formatting and cover design because you want to be able to say, I'm making a cookbook. So you want to be able to go to someone who has worked on cookbooks before, who is going to understand what you are looking for and what's going to make sense for the content that you are working in. So don't be afraid to ask for samples and specifics. Once you have an idea of this person, you've met them and you're thinking this is a good thing, this is going to work out, we get along, communicate your budget, timeline, and any other pertinent info to the people helping you with the project. So again, that's why I kind of have this one last, because you really want to have a good idea of who your audience is, when you want to deliver this, what your budget is, and how you want to communicate with this person throughout the project. So make sure that you are able to share all of that pertinent info with everyone that you are working with. Next, you want to be clear on the best way of communicating throughout the project. So as I mentioned, think about what's going to make the most sense for you. Are you saying on Fridays, I am, taking feedback, or I'm working on this throughout the week? Reach out to me with any questions that you may have, or I will be coming to you with any questions or updates or checking in. So just be clear on how that will work best for you. And then don't set it and forget it. So check in regularly and be proactive in the ideation and creation process. So it's really important that you have a good understanding of what a copy editor does, of what a line editor does, of what a formatter is supposed to do, and things like your genre expectations for your cover. So you may find a stellar cover designer that does beautiful work, but they may have never worked in your genre before. So even though you just want to say, hey, give me a cover for this book, that'll be great, you need to know when they send something back to you, does this meet genre expectations? Does this communicate things the way it's supposed to? Is my reader going to be able to see this and at a glance know what this book is about and fit it into the genre that I'm working in? So these are all things that you as the, employer, you'll be employing these people to work on your book. So you need to have that knowledge and understanding of what you're looking for so you can have those really productive and proactive conversations. Okay, bonus. All right, this is another really important thing to think about is how will you sell your book? So this is kind of the bonus round here. But I like to mention this as well because for some distribution options, I probably have this on here, maybe not. But depending on how you're selling your book, some trim sizes and formats are not acceptable through all retailers. So I think Coil Bound is a product set that Lulu offers that is not eligible for what we call global distribution. So on Lulu, we can sell your books through our bookstore. We can put your books through Lulu, Amazon, and Barnes and Noble, Ingram as well. And so if you want to go through global distribution, you have to be aware of what your trim sizes are because not every distribution outlet is going to accept those. This will also help you decide, do I need an ISBN? And it doesn't have to be either or. So you can say, hey, I want to sell direct. I want to sell on Lulu's bookstore. I want to sell through Amazon. You can pick and choose what's going to make the most sense for you, but just be thinking about that in the beginning so that if you decide I'm doing a planner that is coil bound, you can know up front that's not going to be accepted through our distribution channels. So something to think about. And then considering where you want to sell your book will determine specs and if an ISBN is necessary. So a little note on ISBNs, you don't have to have one if you're selling through the Lulu bookstore. You also don't have to have an ISBN if you are selling directly through your own website. You do have to have an ISBN if you want to sell through global distribution or through major retailers. They're going to want that. So at Lulu, you can bring your own ISBN. So you can buy a batch from Bowker if you would like, or you can use a free ISBN from Lulu. Just something to be aware of there is that if you do use a free ISBN from us, it will have Lulu listed as the publishing imprint. That may or may not matter to you. And if you decide to leave Lulu for whatever reason, then you can't take that ISBN with you. So a couple things to think about there. You also want to review your audience research to see where people prefer to purchase your books. Now, I believe that there is a shift that has been going on over the past couple years where more and more people want to support an artist directly and support authors directly, and they want to be able to buy from you. And if the way to do that is through your website, they're willing to do that. They're willing to maybe wait and not use Prime to get that book the next day. And when you communicate, this supports me more as an author, this allows me to build a sustainable business. Most people are willing to do that because they want to support you and not Jeff Bezos. So think about that. Think about your audience. And again, going back to number 2, which knowing your audience and understanding where they are and where they hang out, what websites they go to, you should be in touch with them. And so you should kind of get a good idea of if every book launch that they are excited about is selling on Amazon, there may be a learning curve there. You may have to say, hey, my book is on Amazon. You can go there if you want, but I would really prefer it if you buy it directly from my website or wherever you'd like to sell it, because that helps me or whatever reasoning you may have to do so. So again, audience research is so valuable and can be really important when you go to launch that you're understanding the attitudes and the behaviors of your audience so you can really meet them where they are. You can also connect with local bookstores about carrying your book and hosting a signing. Again, I will say we have talked to independent bookstores that won't carry books that are sold on Amazon or published through Amazon because they're, a direct competitor. And a lot of independent bookstores don't appreciate what Amazon has done for their business. So having these conversations, if you have a bookstore that hopefully you've been supporting, going to them and saying, I'm going to launch my book. Can I have a signing? Or, will you allow me to host a signing here? Can help be, or will be a mutually beneficial experience. Another little note on approaching bookstores to host a signing for you, make sure you understand their audience too. You don't want to just go to them and be like, hey, can I post up here and sell some books? You want to say, hey, I'm going to have this book launch. Can I host it here? I know that I'm going to have, 20 to 25 people that will come. I know they're kind of in your target demographic. They love your bookstore. So see if you can help them instead of just saying, hey, can you do this? Can you do me a solid? And can I come, post up here for a little while? Make sure you kind of understand what they're getting out of it too. And that'll make it much more appealing for them to host you. All right, next little pro tip is order books in bulk so you always have a few on hand. So if you're an author and you are interested in selling books, you should always, always have one within arm's length or wherever your car is within car parking lot length away. We've been in conversations with authors. We're like, oh yeah, this is my book. And then they want to show it to us and there's not one anywhere. So just think about that. It's a very practical thing to have. It doesn't have to be a ton. You don't have to fill up your basement or your closet with your books, but having 5 to 10 on hand can just be a great way for you to have it, to be able to share. You never know when you might meet someone who can benefit from your book or who knows someone that will benefit from your book. Or maybe it's just a nice way to delight someone and leave them around town or at a coffee shop or things like that. So always good to have a few on hand. And then include a direct sales option to connect with readers. I think my next slide talks about Lulu's direct sales options, but direct sales just means that you are selling your book directly to your audience. This has so many benefits, but it's a really good idea to think of a way, whether it be through your own website, selling through your social media channels, going to pop-ups or different vendor fairs and selling your book, but having a way to sell directly to connect with your audience is a great way to help grow your business and build relationships with your readers. All right, so direct sales with Lulu. So as I said, direct sales just means selling your book directly to your audience. And with Lulu, we have a couple different ways that we can help you do this. So we integrate with Wix, WooCommerce, Shopify. If you aren't using any of those platforms, or if you already have your website built on something else, we also have a print API that you can use that will give you all the same functionality of Lulu Direct, but it just takes a bit more coding. If you know how to code or if you have access to the back end of your website, you will need that to implement our API. Of course, you could also hire someone off of Fiverr or Upwork or something like that to help there. But by selling direct, you get a lot of benefits that selling through a third party does not allow. So if you sell your book on Amazon, or even if you sell your book through the Lulu bookstore, you can see when you make a sale, and we can all agree that that is very exciting, but you can't see who is buying your book, and you're also giving a cut of your revenue to the distributor. So a benefit of direct sales is not only can you sell your book through your own website, which helps you curate your own customer journey. So when you are selling your books through your own website, you highlight whatever you want. You can say, hey, here's my latest book, or here's my backlist. I really want to highlight this month because it's more seasonal, or this book is really timely right now, so I want to make sure people land on my website and see that. I also like to always say, when you go to Amazon or other websites and you buy something and it might say at the bottom, people also bought or people also read. You can do that too. And that stuff that people also bought and read can be all your stuff. It can say, people also love this book. This book really goes well with the one you're about to buy. Here's 5% off, or you can bundle and save. So these things that we're seeing on these huge retailers, you can look at that and do it on your own website as well. When you sell through your own website, you keep 100% of the profit. You're not paying for distribution. You are selling the book directly. So you keep 100% of your revenue. And you can collect customer data. So this is hugely important if you would like to grow your author business. Being able to see who is buying your books is invaluable, because then you can grow your email list. You can communicate with them. You can ask them how they heard about you. You can send out surveys. You can send out promos and you say, hey, this person bought this book. I'm about to launch another one. I think that you would be interested. So growing your email list, there's so much content out there now about how valuable this is, but a well-nurtured email list is a lot of times a better marketing tool than social media, because social media, we all have the endless scroll. Who knows what you're going to see when you open up whatever your favorite social media app is. But when you open up your email, that's a very curated list of things that you want to hear from. These are people or organizations or companies or people that you want to hear from. That's a little bit more gated than just a social media feed. So being able to collect readers' email addresses can be really, really valuable when you're thinking about growing your brand and your business. Another great thing about selling direct, and this is the same for any Lulu platform or avenue that you may use. We're print on demand, so you automate the print fulfillment, so you don't have to worry about inventory. If you do choose to do direct sales, without a connection like Lulu Direct, this is as simple as having the sale page on your website, then having a box of books at your house and hand fulfilling those orders. I will say, even though that's more manual, it can have some nice opportunities for you to delight your readers, like putting in a little handwritten note to say thank you, or adding bookmarks or stickers or any other lead magnets that you may want. So even if you don't want to fully integrate with something like Lulu Direct, there's still a way for you to sell direct without having to do all that. Another great thing about this is you can white label it. So if you want to have brand continuity throughout, people go to your website, they see your branding, they get the package in the mail. It's your branding on the packing slip and not Lulu's, so it can be completely white labeled. We do have a global print network. So a great thing about Lulu, I think we have 7 or maybe 8 printers around the world. So wherever your readers are, we can get your books there. And by having a global print network, that helps us kind of negate some shipping costs and shipping times as well. Oh, and you get paid faster. So this is exciting. So I know that a lot of you said that you weren't familiar with Lulu. Hopefully you're excited at this point in the presentation. But if you sell through the Lulu bookstore, which is a very approachable way to publish your work, you can publish and sell it immediately after you get and review your proof copy, of course. But when your book's available for sale on the Lulu website, our revenue split is 80-20. That means that you get 80% of the revenue and Lulu gets 20. For print books and for ebooks, it's 90-10. So what that means is if your book costs $5 to make and you sell it for $15 on the Lulu website, you as the author will get $8 of that revenue and Lulu gets 2. And again, it's 90-10 for ebooks. So if you sell through Lulu Direct, you keep 100% of that revenue and you get paid within 24 to 48 hours, depending on the platform you're using. Whereas if you sell through Lulu, we pay either monthly with PayPal or quarterly via check. All right, and then we integrate with Wix, WooCommerce for WordPress, Shopify, or our print API. If you go to lulu.com, you can /sell on your site. I'll link to all this, but we have all this information available. Or drop your questions in the chat. We are getting to the end of this session. Oh my gosh, we are at the end of this session. Okay, so I was, again, telling the truth here. All right, so I am Chelsea Bennett. My email address is cbennett@lulu.com. I know a lot of the times, publishing, my favorite term that I've heard, or phrase, I guess, is you don't know what you don't know. So you may think you have a pretty good grasp on it, and then you kind of get into the weeds and you're like, what is an ISBN? What is metadata? How do I copyright this book? So all of that may come up. I'm happy to help. If I don't know the answer, I usually know who does, and I can find it for you. So don't hesitate to reach out if I can't get to your question today. Alexa mentioned this at the beginning, but we have so many resources at Lulu. Our platform is free to use, so we make money when our authors make money. So we really try to create and provide as much helpful information as we can. So our YouTube channel at lulu.com, we have a ton of webinars, some even featuring the wonderful Alexa. We have an X account at lulu.com, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things. We also have a podcast and a blog. However you like to ingest information, we have created it there for you. So now I'm just going to take a sip of water and I will open it up for questions.
Hey, would you like me to read them to you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, good. Don't forget, if you had a question, to please put them in the Q&A box so that we can find them easily. Some of these are going to be very, very easy for you. What does free to use publishing platform mean?
Free to use publishing platform?
Yeah, I think you had said something about a free to use publishing platform. I mean, it's hard to say without, that was way back from the beginning of your presentation, so it's hard to determine the context. I don't, Anais, can you clarify on that? Was she talking about Amazon or Lulu or?
Well, I can say that Lulu, our platform, is free to use. And so
Oh,
basically, to use Lulu, you just need to create an account, which is free. To publish with Lulu, you need an interior file PDF and a cover file PDF. So you will need those two. You can download templates from our website or create them on your own. And then you'll come to our site, create your account, upload your projects, and then you only pay when you want to buy print copies of your book. So that is how our platform works for free.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what must have been what you were talking about. So you don't have
Yes.
to, like some other places, you have to pay a subscription fee to use it, or you have to pay to upload your files and approve the files and all that. You don't have to do that with Lulu, right?
Right. There's
Okay,
no subscriptions. You can cancel anytime.
nice. What is BISEC?
Oh, BISAC categories are basically just BISAC.
It's like the
Uh,
book industry
book.
standard. I can
Yes.
never remember the A.
Yes, book
The
industry
codes,
standards and something category, something like that.
categories.
But yeah, it's basically your a tool for discoverability. So you'll want to create these so that when retailers get your book, you know, if you write a book about I don't know, marketing and social media, so marketing, social media, maybe it's specific to Facebook. So all of these categories can be narrowed down in your BISAC so that that retailer knows how to shelve your book and when it should come up in search results, basically. So they're kind of like keywords to help people find and identify your book.
The next question is where would be a good place to look to hire a book formatter, which I'm sure Chelsea's going to say, come give us a try because we do
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I know Women in Publishing, you guys have some amazing resources, obviously. And then, you know, we have, if you look at lulu.com/partners, then you can see a list of folks that can help with things like that. But Alexa can definitely help you with that if needed.
Yes, we'll definitely talk about that in the conference. We have a couple of tools we like to recommend, but also one of the beauty of going to a company like Lulu is the ability to do a la carte services or basically like full production from A to Z, correct?
So at Lulu, what we do is publishing and printing. So
Oh,
we don't.
you're not doing the, okay.
Yeah. So we don't, for a time we're doing that, but now, I mean, all of our investment is in direct sales and in helping you publish and print your books. So that is our bread and butter. So that's why lulu.com/partners is a great resource. If you do need any of that formatting help or cover design or anything like that.
So see, this is why we continue to have these webinars because things change over the years. So good to
Yes.
know. Printing, publishing. Okay. Do you have tips on conducting audience research specifically around their buying behavior and attitude? How funny, because that's what your session is all about in the conference.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Great segue. Yeah, I mean, there are so many tools available today to help you find keywords. And I mean, just going to, depending on where your audience is, but kind of thinking about, I go back to that positioning statement because I think that that's really helpful. And when you figure out who exactly is going to benefit from your book, so the example I gave was insomniac. So that's a pretty wide range. Maybe you want to narrow it down, but just doing a Google search about that, going to a website like Spark Toro or Answer the Public. These are really good for keyword search. So for example, if you go to Answer the Public and type that in, then it'll show you what people are asking specific to that topic. Or even going to Google and starting to type something in like insomniac and then letting it auto fill and tell you what people are searching for and what they're asking for. So that can be really helpful because if I type that into Google and it says, how do I cure insomnia? Okay, well, that's your first thing that you want to try to tackle. And then looking for forums where people are talking about that. What questions do they have? What are they asking? Reddit is another great one. I mean, Reddit has threads. It can be kind of intimidating and sometimes sort of a slush pile, but there are specific channels for almost any topic that you could be researching. So going there, going to Facebook and seeing if there are groups that are already created around your specific topic. And then not everyone's going to fit, but every single one is going to give you a little bit more information about who you're looking for. And you may find out that the person you thought was going to get the most out of the book maybe isn't. I would also say looking at books in your genre, going even to Amazon and looking at similar books, look at the reviews because seeing negative reviews for a book is really helpful to let you know what people didn't like and what they're looking for. And then seeing the good reviews obviously lets you know, hey, here's what I need to do more of, and here's kind of the path I need to go to make this book successful.
Absolutely. I'm sure you love this question and get it a lot. Is Lulu similar to Ingram Spark?
Yes, yeah, we are. I mean, they are a competitor of ours. They do very similar work to us, but I believe that some of the key differences, I will say, I don't think that their interface is as user friendly as Lulu's. I will say that. And I would also say, I believe that they have title setup fees and revision fees. So at Lulu, you never have to pay any revision fees. You don't have to pay any title upload fees. Like I said, you only pay when you want to buy print copies of your books. So we kind of, you don't have to worry about anything like that with us. And I believe with Ingram Spark, they do charge those things. And then also we have a direct sales option. So if you are thinking, this is the year that I will really take my author business seriously, this is the year I want to see if I can sustain myself as an author, the direct sales piece is so huge and incredibly valuable for so many reasons. But we also have a ton of resources and ways for you to actually do that and make it happen. And Ingram Spark does not have that at this time.
That's true. On the fees, they did make a change this last year. They no longer have an upload fee. I'm not sure about the revision fee. I think there's still a fee for that, but they do now, instead of, because they don't have that upload fee, they charge an additional percentage on sales. So
Yeah.
there's that. But yeah, they're I think they're significantly different enough based on the goals. And for indie authors, I think direct sales is so key to making more money than trying to get into bookstores and things. That Lulu makes a lot of sense. It just like with anything, when you're trying to decide which company to work with, you have to know what your goals are, what and how and where you're trying to sell, and then make the decisions based on that. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh,
Do
exactly.
you
And I
agree?
mean, yeah. And I think, I mean, it never has to be either or. I mean, if Lulu
Right.
works for you for direct sales and there's something about Ingram Spark that you really feel works, then you can do both. You will need to have different ISBNs for those projects, but I always like to remind people that it doesn't have to be either or. It could be, it's a choose your own adventure out here. So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a great point. But speaking of either or, if somebody is currently working with another company and wants to transfer to Lulu, I'm not going to say the name, but you can probably see it in the questions. Is it difficult to switch from another kind of similar company to your company? Um, how's that work?
yeah. Yeah, no issues on our end. Really, all that you have to do is get your files. So again, to publish on Lulu, you need two files, an interior file and a cover file. And once you have those two PDFs, then you can come and upload. If you are working with someone else and using an ISBN of theirs, you cannot bring it with you. But we have our own ISBNs, or if you have your own, you can obviously bring that over. But we play nice. We don't care where you're coming from. We're just happy to have you.
I love it. Okay, this is a great question. Julie is curious to know if you have templates. So like if someone's creating a journal, and you guys have been showing a lot of stuff with like journals and fun projects like that.
Mhm.
Do you have templates for authors to make sure they're set up properly?
Yes, we do. Let me close out of my presentation. So yeah, we have templates available, a couple different ways to get them. So I will drop the link to our book pricing calculator. I love this tool. I think it's so amazing and a great place to start, especially if you are not familiar. Just gonna drop it in the regular chat. But
Yep.
this is our pricing calculator. So if you go to lulu.com/pricing, you can put in your specs for your book and then download a cover template and an interior file template so that you can create your book within those and it'll upload perfectly. Or if you want to make a notebook, another really cool thing that we have are interior files for notebooks and planners. So if you want to do blank or lined or graph or grid, you can download those in whatever trim size you'd like. Thanks for dropping that in, Alexa. And so here is our publishing toolkit. If you go to this page and scroll down, then you can see all of our guides for our publishing guides as well as our distribution guides. And then, oh, am I only sending that to you? Sorry.
Yes. That's all right. I got you.
Thank you. It's like, why am I okay? Am I not good enough now? Thank you for that. So, yeah, on that page, the templates, you can scroll down, find your book size, and then download your interior files if you just want to test it out. So, like I said, we don't have any minimums or maximums. So you can easily today download an interior file, upload it to our platform. We have a cover designer on the in our publishing wizard, so you can create the cover on the fly, order one copy and say, okay, this is a great quality, I love this, this is wonderful, or maybe this isn't what I'm looking for and I need to keep doing some research.
Perfect. Love it. Okay. I love this final question. I know this is off topic, but I'm curious. Is there a story around the 1878 date on your fireplace?
Oh, that is a great question. And yes, there is a story. So I am living in way Western North Carolina right now, like as Western as you can get before we go into another state. And my husband and I, we were renting this house. This house was built in 1878. So yes, I don't think, I don't think those are original numbers to the, the people who built this house, but yeah, that's the story. It's an old house. And I found recently when it's been very cold, it's very hard to heat. So
I
fun
bet.
fact.
I bet with the house that was built in 1878, I'm sure you're enjoying that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. Worth
very
it
good.
for the history, but none of the fireplaces work anymore, unfortunately. I guess they had like a 100-year lifespan or something like that, maybe.
Wow. Well, this has been fantastic. We actually made it through all of the questions, and you'll be able to meet with Lulu staffs, and if you have a ticket to the conference in the virtual booths that we're going to have set up, so you'll be able to come in and actually camera on if you want to, or just voice
Mhm.
ask your questions and talk about Lulu and all of that stuff. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet to the conference, please do so this week. They go up $50 on February 1st. So we really want to try and get as many people in as possible. Just head on over to womeninpublishingsummit.com and grab your ticket. And also Lulu has an offer for our audience too, right? Do you remember what that is off the top of your head?
Oh, is it
It's
I don't. Let me, I
I
can email
don't
it to you. I was
remember
going
either.
to say, is it women, WIP
I
15?
can give them the link. Hold on a second.
Yeah,
I've got
yes,
it right
yeah.
here. I've got it right here. So over on our womeninpublishingsummit.com/sponsors page, everyone,
There we
ticket
go.
holders or not, should definitely go over there because most of the offers are open to the entire community, whether you're attending the conference at
Yes,
all. It says 15% off printing services with the
there you go.
coupon code WINPUB15. So I'm going to drop the link in the chat to make sure that you guys get this as well. But definitely, if you're looking, there's a lot of reasons to do print runs of your books, a lot of
Mhm.
reasons, especially like if you're going out and doing events or you're selling direct from your website, all of those types of things. So it's good to have printer options for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. And I will also say, if you lose that link or you just want to check us out, if you follow us on Twitter or Facebook, we always post we usually have a discount in market. So that's a great place to kind of take a look. So if you can't bookmark this or you forget about it, check us out on those platforms or sign up for our email list and you'll be in the loop.
awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's always fun. You always bring so much energy to these presentations, and that was a wonderful presentation. So we will see you at the conference then.
Awesome, you will. Well, thank you so much for having me. I had a great time. I hope I'm not the only one. So, yeah, see Bennett at lulu.com. If you need anything, I am happy to help. And thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.